everybody. How are you doing? Boy, we're going to have fun today. Yeah, we were a little bit late, but that's okay. We were talking. It's what people do, like-minded. So let me just invoke favor upon everyone this fine day and appreciate you stopping in. Thank you, moderators. You guys have done, and gals, do a great job. And we got a jam-packed hours, folks. So I just want to get to it. By the way, just a shameless plug here. Tonight, we will be joined live with Nige from Ground Zero in China. And with Jules, who is our community alchemist. So anyway, so I have the privilege and the joy of introducing our guest. She's a fascinating spirit. I love her energy and her soul. Many of you know her already because you've asked me time and time again. Please get Kelli on. So, Dr. Kelli, how are you doing?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for asking me on your show. It's the privilege is, all mine to be on here. Thank you for asking me. First of all, doing very
Welcome.
well. You can't see. Let's see if you can see behind me for even just a second. We've got, you call it snow blindness.
Look at that, folks.
Slopes. There it is, and it's gone. And it's gone. This is Illuminati magic.
It looks like some black runs up there, as I see in the background.
There's quite a few. You can draw from the very top of eight over there that you can't see right now. It's right there.
Nope.
It's a drop into 3 to 5 feet of powder. And then you're just under. All of a sudden, I know some people that did that.
I'll have to quote Billy Joel, when I wore a younger man's clothes.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. I mean, what is that at the top? Is that 14,000 feet?
Around 14. I think there's a peak that's 15 over there.
Yeah.
I live right here at 11,000.
Okay.
Where I am up here I'm on Baldy.
Okay.
I love it. So it's so beautiful up here. I get to see all 10 peaks, and I get to see into. I think is that Vale right there, or we've got Dillon and a Keystone. Keystone's like. I see these 2 other mountain ranges. This is the most gorgeous view.
And we've had lots of snow up there.
It was, lots of snow. I had a car. As of a few days ago, I have a truck. It was something. Gliding is the best word. I grew up in Texas, so, I drove on ice and I know how to do that. But I got here and there's powder. And I'm like this far from the ground in my car. 3 feet of powder and me. In a snowbank, and I dug myself out.
Coming from Texas
up here.
Yeah.
I was pretty tough coming from Texas.
And you still got the altitude too.
Oh, man.
You had to acclimate to that.
Oh my gosh, I was at 420 feet.
Above
the ocean.
And so, I grew up in Houston. I actually moved from Austin, Texas to here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So actually had
I named my truck Austin.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's cool.
Austin with a Y.
Yeah. I had a internet company down there in the 90s. Actually had it right off 6th Street.
Nice.
Let me just tell you, never have an office off 6th Street.
No, I wouldn't recommend that either.
It's we are actually above what was the Library Club. And so it was rock and rolling back in those days. Well, it's so good to talk to you, Cal. Here we are talking like, hey, y'all just talk amongst yourselves over there. We're having fun over here.
That's kind of how I am on my show. We just kind of chat, and other people listen to our chatting.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just the way we do it.
I'm a genuine person, and I just genuinely share things from my perspective, and that's all I can do really as an avatar, being here in an avatar level.
I like the avatar much better than the golem idea. An avatar gives me ability of much more technology. A golem is like I'm looking at some of this, mud, walking mud.
Yeah. Oh yes. True story. I guess I look at life quite differently because I died, and when you die, you get in touch with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And through that and choosing to come back, I was able to access everything that I had access to when I died, when I came back into this avatar. So from that, I have been on a spiritual journey for 10 years, and that's all I promised anybody watching me on YouTube was just to go through my spiritual journey. But I've gone through my spiritual journey having access to the everything while doing it. From the avatar level, getting myself out of the avatar, out of the matrix, into other parts, and not only on other parts, but to my God center and having access to that. Where if you think of it on the level of a bubble, you're God in the middle, the potential to be something. And on the surface of your bubble, which is about the easiest thing to create if you're going to create something, is a bubble, right? So,
Yeah.
and on the surface of your bubble is all of existence.
Okay.
So when you function from the avatar or the higher self or anywhere in the illusion, you're in a system of limitation. No matter what level you're on, there are limitations. So when I work with people, I work from, you can do it in theory and it still works. You don't have to buy into this. You can believe it for an hour and then let go of it. You don't have to hold on to this for like, try it, see how it works. But this is how you manifest. This is how you manifest on a level that it becomes insane how you get control over the matrix and over the illusion from this place. Because inside science and all kinds of stuff, spelling and new age and all of that works inside of the matrix where you figure out the math of how it's done. Instead, I bring people to the place where they are the potential to be math.
I see that.
Before
Yeah.
math was created, so that you don't have to know all the rules and the spells and all of that stuff and the ohms and the whatever. You don't have to know all of that to then manipulate, if you will, all of creation, and to know how to do that by then understanding the anatomy of what you created as God.
Yeah.
And going from that standpoint, then these aliens that scared you and kidnapped you is now something you created for the sake of learning and killing time and not being bored and lonely, to have something to do in your growth and development.
So when you crossed over, was that because of a sickness? Was it just an accident, or how did that occur?
I had my wisdom teeth extracted, and I had an out-of-body experience during the procedure as well that upset the doctors when I was telling them what they said during the procedure. And asking them questions about, you said this was going to happen and this actually happened. And they're like, you were asleep. They have my little tape.
You ain't supposed to hear that now.
You were supposed to know this stuff. So I'm like, I shut my mouth. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything anymore. So 10 days later, from complications from that, I think I just ran out of calories because I stopped eating, pain, they got impacted, and I stopped breathing. And when I stopped breathing, I was at home and the tunnel appeared in the middle of my living room, and it was small and it got bigger and bigger. There was a blue light being that was there that was beckoning me, male voice, come this way. This is the way to go. Come to me, and would repeat it over and over and over. And it looked like, it reminded me, it was the technology. It reminded me of snow on old fashioned televisions when you get snow, on there. So that's what it looked like. And when I stopped breathing, you could see everything. You see into all the dimensions at that point. You're aware of everything, and you're like, oh my gosh, I was only focusing on this dimension, which I could see more since birth. I mean, I've always been able to see. Excuse me, but this was a place that I didn't know to look. so it was like all of this stuff was there. It's like getting in the ocean and there's all this stuff. And you find out that space is really like salt water. That's what space is. And we're just bubbles inside of that salt water.
Space is not empty.
You discover, oh my gosh, it's that black light with all the colors.
Yeah.
That you as God created, which is the biggest, what I've found in my remote viewing, it is the most powerful creation force in all of creation that you create in this place. It's on top. You want to think of it as a pyramid. It's on top. The black light with all the colors. And you as God created this in a way that you could program it with your feelings and your emotions. So the most powerful creative force in all of creation is the black light with all the colors, with your emotion and feelings. If you take a step down into like the white light, if I had to give it a definition in the Matrix, because I encountered the white light when I died. It was love and consciousness is
Mm,
what that is. A lot of people mistake the white light as God, because you're God, the potential to be. If you can see it, it's not God. It's
right.
something God created, if you think of it that way. So this white light, good job, God. You did great. It's second most powerful creative force in all of creation, but it's programmed more on the level of thoughts and on that level. Then you've got like the gold light, the deity light that we're in right now in this golden experience that we think we're separate from it in this experience. So you got the golden light. And if you want to think of it, don't think of this like too precisely. We're looking at pictures, I guess. You would think of the golden light being programmed more in written form, like if you're writing it down. So each level that goes down with this creation has more limits and more limitations on it. So when you realize you're going to feel anyway, right? You're feeling an emotion or a feeling, and that is what programs what creates your reality, and that's manifesting. So if you have control over your emotions and your mind and your body and all of that, then you are creating a reality with everything in it that you want. And you do that by feeling that you already have it and getting in that feeling. And that's the 30-day manifestation challenge
Well, I love that.
that I have. So this is
So
really exciting.
the being that you saw there, did you question him? Was it a sense that, did you feel that this was an individual that had empathy, or, you know,
It felt like it was an entity, but it was almost like a program for a behavior that would make me happy,
mm-hmm,
that I would be okay with. And it was a perfect voice. It was just absolutely perfect. The voice beckoning me to go into the tunnel. Now, remote viewing since then and looking at it, I find these beings in a place called Lemuria.
yeah,
Some people might call it the Garden of Eden, the Crystal City, where the
mm-hmm,
Council of 12 is, and all that. So that's where I find these beings, typically in this sector or this local reality that we're experiencing, and helping to guide you to that next place. So in all of this, there's a big story to tell with this, the bliss, oh my gosh, everything's made of light. It's the most wonderful thing ever. But being drawn to the tunnel, like electromagnetism is how everything sticks together, if you want to think of it that way. Being drawn to this tunnel through electromagnetism, this being suddenly changes what it's saying when I'm almost there to the tunnel. And with directing like Vanna says, it's your time to go. And suddenly it was like, no, it's not my time to go. I have to go back, is what I said. And I'm thinking, do I have to punch this guy in the nose? Kick him? What am I going to have to do? Like grab out of the tunnel and I'll let go?
I
How
love
am I going to
this.
get back? But without effort, just me saying, no, I have to go back. I started going back towards my body. And the person I was with there, I heard them they're screaming at this point, Kelli, breathe, Kelli, breathe. Because I've been gone for several minutes. And then when I got back down to my body, it was like, wham, like this freight train hit me. It was just this, where I was feeling the gravity from the level of the avatar.
Yeah, the density.
And oh my gosh, the density compared to where I was.
Yeah.
Where there, I was just not levitating. You don't levitate. You just are. You just be. You're in stasis, kind of like being in water. What people think space is I see it as water when I remote view.
Now, when you remote view, it's interesting because that kind of got triggered again, enhanced to you from the NDE, right? The experience you had.
Well, the remote viewing, I always remote viewed from what I would call now the God bubble, going to that place called imagination and just looking at a spot on the surface of your bubble and having no restrictions in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to remote viewing through the matrix, where you got heavy and huge filters that tell you what to see and not to see. And oh, don't look over here, you're not supposed to. For whatever reason. So since I was born, I've always had access to the everything. It's just that some places I did not know to look until then, being stuck in my avatar as God, being in an avatar, being stuck in that place with my awareness.
It's interesting when you use that term avatar, and it's one that I identify with. I was doing a little traveling myself last night. There's someone out there, and I'm trying to get this person into focus, but I've become more convinced that the essence of who and what we are is really occupying another place. And it's almost viewing into this corporeal plane of what we call the physical. And I get so many often that I'm the observer and the observed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You as God are playing all parts.
Yeah.
You want to think of it that way.
I call it the Trinity. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at myself, I'm acting out, and then I'm thinking about it. And it's a weird, when you think about it, it's the whole structure is very odd.
Mm-hmm. And when you get into it, you see these patterns, 3, 6, 9.
Yeah.
You see the math patterns.
Now, do you target a specific subject when you're getting into remote viewing?
Remote viewing, I think what I developed with remote viewing was not as much an ability to do it better, but an ability to overcome all my fears.
Oh,
And do it when people are watching. So I did that on Patreon. Kelli In The Raw on Patreon is where I did a lot of the getting over my fear and becoming confident in what I see is actually the thing. And I don't let my fears get in the way. Even someone like Psychic Bob, Robert Hickman or Bob Hickman, if he doesn't remote view in like 2 or 3 days, he's like, I don't know if I can even do it again. And he's like, the top in the business. He's really, really good. So that confidence in seeing is what keeps most people from looking. So that's what I developed. And what I would do a target. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I looked at a couple videos on YouTube to see how other people did it. And then I went in that direction. I'd say, okay, someone to pick a target and give me a set of numbers or something that's like a place, like a physical place and a time for that. Oh, hold on. I've got allergies. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. It's the season. We all know that it happens. And, isn't this fascinating?
So dry. I'm so sorry. It's so dry here to live in.
Yes, it is.
And it's like you just drink and drink all the time.
I actually, when I go up that high and spend any time, it's the headaches,
Mm-hmm. I had those at first, and then I'm acclimated now, and I can
a
whole lot of stuff.
I mean, I've been here about 15 years. We're talking about how when you remote view.
Oh, remote view. Sorry.
Yeah,
I was remote viewing while I was doing that. So I would do that. I would. At the first, it's like, what could it be? So I had to work through all my issues, and my audience saw me working through all my blocks and all my issues to then see it clearly. And then after an hour and a half, I had described it clearly. I created maps and all that's on Patreon that you can go look at all those videos of me remote viewing targets. I didn't know what the target was. Excuse me. And then on there, I help teach the audience how to do it themselves.
Interesting. So
I don't see that I'm special. It's like everybody can do this. Let me just help you work through getting rid of all those blocks and all those things that are in the way of doing it.
The average person, would you say that we have far more blocks than we realize?
Because I did. And I was working on it and very aware. And I had a lot of stuff that I didn't know about.
Is this, as I'm thinking about this, because I've experienced it myself, you're challenged in the astral realm, at least I have been, as to who I am. Define who you are. To say merely that I am isn't enough. How do you define that? And one of the things I had as a child, because of my upbringing, was this the inner feeling of unworthiness. Does that make sense?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You have this this thing that it's like a coat, and it's not your coat, but it's been given to you. And this
Mm-hmm.
thing that,
Those are programs.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And
I'm
is,
taking notes real quick.
oh, good, cool. Is that
so we can address all of this.
the thing that I found was that the young child that I've lived many lifetimes in this body, in this avatar.
And
And
that's cords. Okay.
yeah, okay.
That you're aware of that. That's cords. An
Oh,
unhealthy attachment to the information.
yeah, I see my life as snapshots. And I can tell you this, I've lived 23,195 plus days in different lives. Each day we're living a different life because why? We're aging. We're going through the process, but I digress. So I had to meet this small
I call
child.
that perspective. Is everything you're saying makes sense? Yeah.
I met this small child. It was me. And as an adult, it was so intense. That feeling of what I now know is that child has been living that exact same moment in time for
Has an unhealthy
23,000 days.
attachment to the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
ones.
yeah, yeah. And, when you finally have to come in and address that and realize, and as I finally told myself, listen, we were before this, we will be after this. And there was a bonding, that
Integration.
yeah, that 10-year-old child who is now experiencing what it is to be an adult.
Inner child work.
Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Well,
this is good. This is awesome. This is explainable. And you made it easy for me.
Well, thank you,
madam.
madam.
Take this out of some people. And you were just like, oh, this is fabulous. Like in the astral, in my experience in remote viewing and looking in the astral is just the fourth dimension. Compared to getting in your God bubble, a place where you created everything. You have access to everything, not just the fourth dimension. So already you're in a limiting system. It might be higher than the avatar in the third dimension.
Still limited.
It's very, 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 very limited. Even when you're in the black light with all the colors, you have a limitation.
I love this.
Because we're dealing with math. So when you get in your God bubble, that's where you have control over everything, and you don't have to follow any rules. It's before all the rules are made. So all you do to transition from the avatar to the God bubble is visualize. You create a visualization that makes sense to you, which is just a focusing technique for doing something that you would do naturally if you didn't have all the blocks there. And so when you visualize, all of a sudden you bypass all of the blocks. And then as they come back, you remove them. But people make such gains in such a short period of time with this. So get yourself out of the astral, get in like the God bubble concept. And then the unworthiness, that's a program that you took in usually from parents.
Yeah.
That you bring in. And those programs, we don't put you on a couch and we talk about our problems. That creates more blocks. And the ones that are already there get bigger. We go by using visualizations. We go into other realms above. We do removal techniques that are easy, like third grade level type stuff, and remove those, put those in the concept of the God bubble as an assistant on the assistant level. Remember, these are visualizations. So you can do whatever you want. There's no rules. You'll put everything in the God bubble, which then releases you from anything. It's a letting go process, letting go and allowing. Everything I do is letting go and allowing. If you're having to pile on and add up and balance, these are not natural systems. These are programs you're maintaining.
Interesting.
So who you really are, you'll never find in the astral.
You're spot on, by the way. The program came from my father and was enhanced by my mother. As a child. Go ahead.
So what you do with that, instead of sitting there and whining about it all the time, let's go ahead and remove all this stuff. So you remove the programs in the other dimensions that program the avatar to have these experiences. You remove all of those. You cut the cords. Yep. And then you do the inner child work and you do healing. That's what we do in the 30-day manifestation challenge.
I love this.
We do all of this and you just let go. And then here's the deal. You as God created these avatars with this white stick that governs it and the soul and all of that. You created it to have factory settings.
Interesting. I
And
love
these have factory settings, so we're
Yeah.
supposed to function a certain way. And when we get into this experience, we're tricked into moving everything out of place and putting it not only in the physical three-dimensional body, it's affecting every dimension. Three-dimensional body, it disrupts the flow of energy. You get disorder, dis-ease. Instead of doing your magic, jingle potions, whatever over here, let's just take out what's keeping it from functioning properly in the first place. And then allow it to just heal itself.
Yeah.
And that's how in this last 30-day manifestation challenge, one lady came in, she'd had diagnosed with cancer for 4 months, not knowing what to do, didn't want to do what everybody else was telling her to do. She came into the 30-day manifestation challenge and that was her goal. The last week she was tested and she was negative for cancer the last week.
Yeah.
Simply by removing all of that stuff that got in the way of her body's natural way of healing itself.
It's amazing how we become our worst enemy. We actually sabotage ourselves.
We're programmed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's acknowledging that and then putting a few protocols in place that you don't allow this same programming to continue. That you say, I'm changing the programming today. In fact, I'm not going to even have any programming because I'm not the programming. I'm in there somewhere. When you get rid of all of that programming, you don't have to search for yourself. You're just there. And then you just are.
This is so cool. And I'll tell you why, Kelly, because, here's the other thing, and I know it's going to relate to a lot of people listening, is the fact that I sense many times as an empath that the vast majority of people that I meet are ones that have, it's the self-disdain for self. And you can see it. They're struggling with trying to identify what it is that is preventing them from moving forward. And there's a lot of people stuck.
And they're doing it while they're doing this.
Yes.
And they don't know what their problem is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I work with people. I work with them and I'll do a lot of asking questions. What are your habits? What do you do to sabotage yourself? And then at that point, it's a decision on whether they want to do it or not. Because I help people with all the tools that they need. I have pretty much everything on YouTube for free.
Interesting.
In this, I do question and answers. I do sessions and stuff and have Patreon and everything. And we're working on a bigger project, a much bigger project that's going to get into a whole other regular people arena.
Gee, what a concept.
What a concept. In a way, because this is helping everybody.
Yeah, it really is. In 1994, I was in a coma for nearly 9 days, and I had contracted spinal meningitis and Lyme disease. And I can remember, I was sick for 2.5 years afterwards. It was a real challenge. People have no idea. But I got to spend a lot of time by myself, and you get to know self. And the thing that I found about two things, I did go up to the abyss and I did look within the abyss to see my greatest fear.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking, I call that the Godhead. This place, I kind of, as you were talking, I remote viewed the place. My word for it would be Godhead, or a software program that contains all of the possibilities for something. My best vocabulary word for it is the super universe and below.
Because that's what I saw within it. Me.
The I.
Yeah, I saw me. I was looking up at myself. And it freaked me out. I mean, it really did. I eventually got to know self, and anyway, that was the thing that I was really profound. The other thing that I learned from that was forgiveness.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I'll tell you, I went on a mission. I was really still sick and I shouldn't have been flying, but I went in on a mission to ask forgiveness and to give forgiveness. And yeah, it was one of those surreal moments because it was a healing time. And here I am today. And I laugh now, my spirit laughs, and it's because I've learned, I guess this, and I had never realized it in the term that you had put it, these blocks, because they do block you, don't they?
Oh yeah, they do. They do block.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I may take
Yes,
you on
ma'am.
a journey, and this is a mental journey, so it's safe.
Yes. Yes.
You do it from the standpoint of your God bubble, because when you go into that place called imagination, you are in your God self immediately.
Yeah.
You are there. So this self that you found, and however you define it, this self that you found, you're going to go to the place that created that self before that self was created. So when you go to that place called imagination, I'm just giving a suggested visualization. You do whatever you want. A suggested visualization would be, oh, I'm God, I created it. I'm inside my bubble. I'm looking on the surface of my bubble. And right there on the surface of my bubble is that self that I found.
Yeah.
And what does that feel like?
It's far out.
See, you're in yourself right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that place called imagination with no filters, no programming. This place before anything was created. It's a very subtle energy when you feel it.
Yeah,
It's not too intense at all. Yeah. Excuse me. It almost feels like the avatar puffs up a little.
Yeah.
Because the avatar starts functioning a little more properly.
You know what? I had the visual image was a rooster, kind of walking with the chest sticking out. It's like, I'm okay. I'm okay, man.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
And the cool thing that anything that you imagine does exist, because you as God are looking at every possible angle. And if you do imagine it, it was one of the possible angles. And yes, it does exist.
Cool.
Timeline, whatever everybody has their own vocabulary word.
I love this. Outstanding. So what else did you get? I mean, this is exciting. I mean, you get it's a stimulation from within, it's that vibration.
Exactly. Knowing that you created everything that you see and everything that exists. Yeah. Because if you want to think of it this way, when you do look at the creation, one of the first things that you as God create is a bubble. And then from that, you keep going as above, so below. Bubble within a bubble, within a bubble, within a bubble. So all of these aspects of yourself as God, when you look and remote view from this angle, it looks like a bunch of bubbles. So none of the bubbles are touching. They're far apart, or they're in patterns and all of that. So each of your individual experiences is inside of a bubble, creating its own reality, interacting with the bubbles around. So you can think of it as everybody's at their computer playing an internet game together. Is the three-dimensional way of looking at it. So you create this reality that includes the other bubbles and the other aspects of yourself. And so this particular one, you created it, you're looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
So however your neighbor behaves is basically what's going on inside of yourself. So whatever you get is what you're sending out, because you create everything. So once you get in control and get everything out of your field and your avatar is functioning properly, you're on your feelings and emotions being in the right place, you're just automatically, without effort, causing that black energy with all the colors in it to create your reality. And then, because you as God are smart, you created the law of attraction inside of your reality. So now that you have effortlessly created something, now it's subject to the laws of attraction. So without effort, it's maximized. So this goes beyond the secret. It goes way beyond.
I'm going to have to replay this part. That was, folks, that was like a huge knowledge bomb, boom. Grab a hold of that.
Everybody. I try to talk about this on a level of pictures instead of big vocabulary words.
Yeah.
But so that everybody has an understanding. If you can think this and in your mind, you are one of the new ones that's ready for this. If you can't create these images in your minds, maybe you weren't.
I think it explains a lot of what's happening to a lot of people that are starting to emerge out of their former states of consciousness into what I would call, you can use the word enlightenment. I think that we are becoming aware. I think that word is probably more easily seen.
Yes, your the level of awareness has been rising.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this the gold energy we're talking about, the black with all the colors, the white light, and then the gold light. This gold light, my nickname is deity light in our experience that we're having here, the deity level. Some people might call it Christ consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So gold is just like the white light is consciousness. The gold is consciousness on a lower level.
Yeah.
So this consciousness, like you as God, don't take this too literally, but you as God were like, hey, I want to have this earth experience called Kelli. And to do that, in my creation, my skin and my bubble, I'm going to create this golden being and call it a higher self. And I'm going to create this golden being to be able to create, but with very definite parameters. You know, it has to be in these parameters. So it can create all of this stuff, whatever it wants to create, and inside of it. It looks like inside from one level. From another level, it just looks like all of creation. And to give you a scale, when I remote view, the higher self, that golden being that is playing this game called Kelli below in the avatar, the super universe is smaller than an atom in the stomach of the higher self. So when I remote view to give you kind of a size in the matrix, so that's kind of what it looks like. It's just really big inside there. So, but you as God, this higher being has no power over you as God that created it. So you can be in the game and observe it at the same time, like you were talking about. That's what because your awareness level is rising and you feel it that way. So when you get into this gold energy, you have all this creation down below. One is called Kelli. And you are supposed to be in the factory settings, having this experience from being in the golden being, playing the game. But when, just like stubbing your toe, all of your attention goes to your toe, and that's it. It's the only thing in the world that exists is your toe at that moment. The only thing that exists is that avatar. And you as God, your awareness automatically goes to the avatar when it's malfunctioning.
Yeah.
When it's not functioning properly. And so when you clear the avatar of everything, it functions properly. And so without, go to the left 12 degrees, and then I can get up into my higher self. Let's breathe properly and force yourself to get up there. Instead of doing that, you're just automatically up there playing the game when there's no restrictions in between. It's effortless.
You don't go through these different steps that I sometimes find I can't do it. I've learned that, I don't know, maybe it was, in my youth that the time that, I used a lot of LSD. And so being out there is very familiar to me. I'm not afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just, as you were talking, you're bringing back some very vivid memories of many of those experiences on LSD because,
really?
Yes, because
I've been scared to try it.
No, let me tell you, what I found was that you described it perfectly. When you're in that state of consciousness, the reason why people have bad trips is because you manifest exactly what you think.
Yes. Oh, you get it. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Listen,
yeah.
I was 16. I was living in a halfway house. I was the only permanent resident there, and it was where they were helping runaways. Anyway, it was a cool place. I met a lot of kids. Anyway, the first time I got really, really stoned on Orange Sunshine, there was a hothouse out there, and I was preaching to the plants. I was so aware that the vibration of the plants that, and that's what I got out of my experiences in my youth, was that there is a tactile world here, but there is another world that encompasses this.
Yes.
So that's what's in my soul today. Yeah.
That is so cool. I've done one time. I didn't really know what I was getting into. Or I don't have done it. ayahuasca, and it was in
Oh,
Texas. It's legal.
yeah.
There's one place I can't. I've made an agreement that I wouldn't tell where it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah. No, it's
because
cool.
they would be overloaded and
Sure.
not
It's like,
be
what
able to
happened?
see to the needs. Like, why are there thousands of people here lining up?
Hmm.
Anyway, it was legal, but it was like 10 times the dose of anything that you get in Peru.
Mm.
And I was in touch with the fourth dimension for 14 hours.
Wow.
And I purposefully did a lot of stuff and learned a lot of stuff while I was there.
Now,
So
what I
I
used
have
to
had that
do,
experience. And now that I don't have to go back there with the ayahuasca, I know how to get back there now
see, exactly.
naturally.
That's what you can do. And so I grew up in Houston, Texas, 1970 and through 73. And
Very humid.
yes, in the Montrose area of all places.
Yeah.
But we went out to Big Bend National Park and we went looking for peyote.
I've
And
never tried that.
yes, and well, actually, we had a shaman with us, and
That is I think the most responsible way to do it
oh yeah,
is
otherwise you're
with
going to kill
one or
yourself.
more good shaman. I
Yes,
don't know what would have happened. Some of that, if
you
what's
need
happening
someone
to me?
to hold your hand,
Yeah,
and
I was like,
because the
where am
spirit.
I don't. Up and down is not even a concept where I am. What is reality? There is no reality. I created that. Oh, but yeah,
We
you
were in a
find out your
sweat
God in
lodge.
this.
You do find God. You find
Yeah, it's
yourself.
like it's me. I'm God. I created all of this shit. No wonder I fucked everything up. I'm gonna do things differently now.
I mean, we were in a sweat lodge, and wow, I mean, my spirit left my body, but I realized there are spirits everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There are spirits that we don't even know about, and I look back now, I begin to realize something. I'm hearing in my head. I'm hearing the word. It was an initiation. Going into the spiritual realm for me has been, I think it's not one that can be just casually approached.
No.
Yeah, it's really serious. And I think a lot of people sometimes get trapped in there and it impacts them in their physical body. That's just my opinion.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct. And I mean, do what you want. It's your life. But I advise people that if you're going to go astral project and play around in the fourth dimension and talk to the angels and put your trust in the angels and all of this stuff, that before you do that, you approach the situation when you spend a lot of time in what I call the God bubble. You spent a lot of time there. You know you created everything that exists. Now that you know that you created the angels and you've been in this a long time and you're very firm in that you know. Now when you talk to the angels, it's in a different place. You're not like, please help me. I fucked everything up down here. Yeah. You're not in that capacity. You're like, hey, I created you. Let's talk. I want to play in my playground I created.
Oh,
Know more about you, and you do it from that standpoint, then there's no fear. Even if you accidentally get an entity that's bad, it's not going to affect you because you haven't given your power away in the illusion to it. Wow. And it's a different relationship. So where you get to enjoy your creation instead of your creation attacking you. So anytime you put up a shield, it's like, I'm being attacked. Well, it's you attacking yourself.
Yeah.
Where are you attacking yourself in your life? But when you put up a shield, I recommend instead of spikes, because that's how a lot of us put up shields is with spikes.
Ooh, yeah.
Think of everything that is coming back as an aspect of you that's unhealed. And if it's met with spikes, how well is it going to heal? It's not going to heal. But what if you put them in a mirror and it sees itself for what it really is without compassion? That's horrible. That's destructive.
Yeah.
Even if you put love on the outside of your bubble, that's one light of I can't count that big in my avatar of how many colored lights were created in this reality. And you're only putting love on the outside, really? From the avatar level, that sounds great. But it just messes a bunch of people up. So we on this, I suggest the concept of the God bubble. Think of this. If there's something unhealed in your creation and it's met with the energy of the God bubble, that that created everything. It gets instant healing. So it's another form of self-healing if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah.
Or forgiveness, to put that
Yeah.
on your shield.
You know what helped me? When I learned the power of favor.
Tell me.
Um,
Educate me.
yeah. So love, unfortunately, in the English culture is ambiguous in its statement. I love chocolate. I love my dog. I love my wife. But what I have found with favor is that I can approach any person, any being, and by invoking favor, I neutralize any negativity that would otherwise be there. And it's one that I have found that people, you can't be against favor. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Can you like define that? Because that's why I try to work with
Yeah.
pictures
Yeah.
instead of vocabulary words. Do you
Yeah.
mind? What do you mean by favor?
See, that's a good point. A favor is, to me, is a state of being. If I am walking in favor, I'm not your enemy. If I'm walking in favor with you, I'm not going to be a betrayer. If I'm walking in favor with you, I am going to be with you.
I'm on
And
your team.
yes, kind of, that's exactly it. I invoke
We're in this
favor.
together.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and when I could say, Kelli, I invoke favor upon your life. I actually have a complete cleansing ritual for favor. And it invokes favor upon your enemies. And it's the way to begin to neutralize the negativity that we all pick up. And I used to be really, you know, at one time, a very self-driven, contrite individual. And I never understood what favor really meant. But if I'm standing in your favor, then I know that I'm in your grace.
Grace, there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
grace and compassion.
Yes. Yeah.
There we
And
go.
that's what
Grace
favor
and
is.
compassion. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That compassion really does a whole lot in the healing process.
Yeah.
The compassion.
That's perfect wording for it. I like that. And that's what favor is.
That is so beautiful. I'm glad
Yeah.
you shared that with us.
Well,
And it's similar. It might be different vocabulary or different way
sure.
of looking at it, but see if this is similar to what you're talking about. This last year, I have worked on loving myself fully and completely, and nobody else matters kind of stuff. And I learned in that to let go of a lot of programs, a lot of fears, all of that, a lot of blocks to this. Did a lot of inner child work, cutting cords, all of that in the 30-day manifestation challenge that we do. And in that, I put love at the top. And in love, excuse me, not only have I learned to love myself, but then I have opened myself up because I have an outward flow of energy. It's that white energy that flows out of the chest. It's a natural flow that I see when everything's functioning properly. And that white energy flows out of the chest of the avatar. So I'm to the place where it is flowing out. And then I was going to receive it. And then I was trying to define everything, put a definition on it. And because of that, because of expectations,
Yeah.
you know, it has to be going this way or that way. I wasn't able to open up and just let it be. So one thing that I'm doing is learning to love others without, because I did it with myself. I'm learning to love others without expectations, which is not putting a title on things.
I love
And
that.
this has been really, really wonderful in my world and what I'm creating and opening it up. And to do that, to create love in your world, the way that you do it, first of all, you love yourself. And by knowing yourself. And then you get into a bubble of everybody loves me. I'm so loved. I'm already loved. And you feel it. You feel the love. Now the feeling and the emotion programs that black energy with all the white light, or I'm sorry, with all the colors. And it kind of programs a lot of other stuff as well to create that in your world. And then there is the love. So, and it was without the expectations, because the expectations, those were from programs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mostly religious
Yes.
type programs that would get me stuck.
Oh, it got me stuck. In fact, I'll be candid with you. One of the reasons why I walked away from Christianity was that I could not find that God in 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. That is the love definition. And if you ever read that, go
Outside of
check.
the rules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
read that. And that was the thing. I'm reading this, that love never fails. Love always sees the best of every person. Love never takes into account a suffered wrong. Love is always forbearing. I couldn't find that God in the Bible, because the God that I saw in the Bible was a judgmental God. And that scared the crap out of me.
Me too. I was so scared to death all the time.
It was like, oh man, because my wife, she calls him the whack-a-mole God. You don't dare stick your head up. Remember the game at the carnivals, the whack-a-mole God? You whack-a-mole the mole.
Yes.
So when I finally realized that whoever wrote that was my definition of what favor really becomes. Because if I have favor for you, I'm not going to hold you against something that you did to me, or I think that you did to me. If I have favor for you, I'm going to want the very best for Kelli in every way possible. I want her life to be one of abundance, one of prosperity, overflow.
Forgiveness as well.
Yeah.
And then if you look at this from the way that you created your universe, if you're showing forgiveness towards the other aspects of yourself, you're showing forgiveness towards yourself.
Yeah.
As well. So however you treat others is how you treat yourself. So that's a really good way to go forward.
I look at myself in the mirror now and I love myself. Not in a narcissistic way.
Oh, no, it's not.
No, I
that's a program to keep you from loving yourself.
I look at myself now and I think, this is a miracle. I mean, and I'll carry the impression of this forever, so that's how I see myself. And, it's still a healing process. When I get angry, I hear myself saying, Wayne, why? And
you're stuck in your avatar.
Yeah,
in the details.
Yeah,
if you're saying me, I, you're stuck there.
It's like, why are you so angry? And there are techniques that I have invented or created. I laugh, and even when I'm outside of my body, I whistle.
That is so cool.
And I found that there are certain times when I whistle that frequencies bring beings towards me. So anyway, it's a pretty far out place. At least I think it is. In Wayne world, it's always fun.
I know, right? Because you're creating this yourself.
Yeah,
creating it to be fun.
Oh, I tell you, Kelli, you are just, you are a true treasure and a jewel amongst the souls of humanity.
Well, thank you. I guess after I died and I came here, it's like, hey, people need to know this information.
Yeah.
This is some of the stuff, I guess, that's been hidden. But if you think it this way, you're playing a game with yourself, so you hid it from yourself.
The ultimate hide and seek.
That's right. Thank you. Yes, it's just when I see these things, we're in a transitional period, and you can put different names to this. Going to the age of Aquarius, that's one way of looking at it as well. This transition in between doesn't mean that there's a sudden. It's like they overlap. And so this period of time where it's a shedding off of the old and a coming onto the new, this is a very, very difficult time. So someone like me, and there's a lot of us out there that came for this transitional period to help ease people through it. For the other ones that came for the vacation after it's already in place, they want to get reincarnated into this and then have some fun.
I went there.
For the work,
Yeah.
Well, it's like I'm here to cut down.
You've given some hope to a lot of people. This community and our channels are like-minded souls. Lots of empaths here. A lot of people who are gifted in seeing, and you just gave them a lot of encouragement, because I think that I loved it when you said that, because you're sloughing off the old skin. And there's going to be this beautiful metamorphosis, this
a letting go and allowing the new, letting go of the old and allowing the new. And that's, everything that you do, if you look at it in the perspective of letting go and allowing, if it's like, fill yourself up with white light, is that a letting go process? No, it's not. You let go of what's keeping you from your body filling itself up with its own white light naturally.
Ooh.
So every process out there, it's like, what about this religion? What about that? Is it a letting go? Are you letting go? But what are you allowing? Allow your God self, not an entity. Let go and allow yourself to create. So.
I could just take snippets from this conversation, and I love that, and it's interesting because I had this conversation just recently with some people is that, I view the creator God. When I think of the word God, I always think limitation. But if I think of,
you're focusing on the white light, that's where the New Age and Christianity has you focused. Is on the white light, is God. And even though it's a powerful creative force, it's not you, because you're God. You created the white light. So just being off in your direction, think of the universe or everything created as being math. If your math is off, everything else is going to be off.
And as a pilot, this, that if your compass and I'm going to go to Breckenridge, but if I'm off a half a degree, I'm going to miss Breckenridge.
Yeah, go to Keystone.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
We have more snow. Ski here.
And that's what happens, I think, to people. They get into this path, and they miss their destination.
Exactly. They were right beside it. It's the road right beside them. It's right there. Turn your head. It's right there. Just let go of this road and you automatically get on that road. That's what happens.
Oh, and it's like you said, it's all electromagnetic. You're going to be pulled
towards your whatever you're thinking and feeling, you're going to be pulled towards. That's that magnetism or that attraction.
Yeah. How freaking cool is that? Well, this hour went by just like that. It's time traveling.
That's why I was asking you if you had a 2-hour show, because that usually takes that long.
I can see why. Will you come back on, and I'll even come on yours?
I would love to.
Oh yeah. We're all right. We'll
have 2.0 when I come back.
Yeah. And I'll tell you
2.0 with Tony Robbins on the side.
Opening new doorways to paths that are, and now I always recognize in my meditation time, I see this and I hear the word unlimited potential. Unlimited potential. That's my future.
Yes, it's whatever you create.
Yeah.
It's unlimited because you're in your God bubble. It's unlimited.
I like this God bubble.
I know, right?
Well, I've given all your contact information below. And
thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? I feel like, I've just been in this wonderful class that would normally cost,
a lot of money.
I just got the best gift that a person could give me, and I'll just speak it back into your life 100-fold.
Well, thank you. And this is the 30-day manifestation challenge. Is kind of what we did today, and we just didn't go through the stuff. But if you want to feel the energy now and something that will kind of help you into releasing and everything, I just came out. This just came out. So you guys are one of the first ones to see this. So this is like Way of the Dragon Coffee, organic and fair trade. It has got my logo on it. Always Cook with Love. It's a manifestation triangle, which connects you automatically with your God self. And you're just flooded with love. It helps families that aren't getting along. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. It helps you to get into a state of being. This is one of my favorites. Path of the Cougar is so delicious. The best seller, which is the most caffeine, of course, is delicious too, is Rise of the Phoenix, and it's on alwayscookwithlove.com. I own Always Cook with Love. The God Bubble is one of my companies as well. Sun God Coffee Company with this. So you have got this energy in the first. It's a little like cheating. It's cheating. You get like manifestation triangle.
I'm going to order some of your spices.
Oh my gosh, these spices.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
These. And thank you so much for, allowing me to show these on your show.
Oh, absolutely.
These, the kids call this magic powder, specifically this one, the Kickstarter magic powder, but the universal seasoning is in everything. These are amazing. but the magic powder, and moms call it that too, because you sprinkle it on vegetables and the kids will not stop eating the vegetables.
Oh,
It
really?
is so good, and they prefer vegetables over a lot of things when you do this. So it changes their diet. It's not just about weight loss. It's about having healthier kids that make healthier choices, and they eat it because it tastes ridiculously good. I just talked to someone where I can't say these are some of the biggest retailers in the world it's going into. So I'm
Excellent.
working
Excellent.
with them right now. You're going to get it in your stores very, very soon. I can't say where yet, so there'll be an announcement. But for right now, you can get it at alwayscookwithlove.com, and it helps them move things forward in the direction of like the coffees. This a portion of this is going to support villages in converting their economies. The beans come from all over the world, converting their economies from the cocaine to coffee.
Excellent. Excellent.
So it's better for raising their children.
Absolutely.
So when you get this, it supports that. And the energy's off the charts. This is already in celebrities' hands. The celebrities are calling it magical fuck. It's just like, really, I can't tell you what this has done for me. And some of them are already like getting these jobs and projects that were stuck. So this is kind of a help, and you don't want to ever rely on anything like this. But in the meanwhile, it will help you get into the place where you start feeling it. You get in the bubble if you already have it, and boom, you don't need me anymore. You can do this on your own. You don't need me.
You know, I love the entrepreneurial spirit. It's one I heavily recommend.
And I put out stuff that helps people.
That's what I'm saying. It's sowing seeds. Mm-hmm. It's the seed time. Yeah, it does
completely.
Yeah. What you know, and I always look at it like this: what is the value of helping one life? It's priceless.
I was reminded of that today on Facebook. The value of helping one person, and that person is one aspect of you that is crying out for help.
Yeah. So often when I find people that criticize me, I realize that for me, it doesn't bother me, because I suddenly realized I am beautiful in my imperfectness.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Because that's your expression as God. That is one of the expressions of yourself.
Yeah.
And it is perfect in every way.
Yeah.
Don't copy anybody, first of all. Don't copy anybody, because you as God go, oh, fuck. Now I'm going to have to rework the math for all of creation.
Like, oh man, now we got to go.
Copying that one over there. Crap, the math's not going to work now.
I love
Don't frustrate yourself with copying other people. Just be yourself. Be authentic.
And that's it. Be yourself and be authentic. Someone just wrote, Robin, one of the moderators, I am a princess. You absolutely are. This is I can see what people are saying in here. It's I
can't see any of it. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's off the scale. People are just loving this.
Oh, I wish I could read it. I'm so sorry I didn't read what
you when you go back,
distracted me.
Yeah, you can actually go back, and I always leave the chat on there. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
Well, I've kept you over an hour. We're gonna have I want you back on. And like I said, I'll even come on your channel. I
would love that, because you're all about aliens and stuff, right?
Oh, good.
They eat that stuff up. My guys do.
Yeah,
I would love to. Well, let's get Jenny in the middle of this and schedule you.
Let's do that,
and we'll get on my show. Thank you.
Okay, well, there we are.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. They're gonna love you. I know they're gonna love you.
Well, we'll have fun. We'll put it that way.
1 or 2 hours though, so be prepared to talk.
Oh, 2 hours is fine.
We can take a bathroom break now.
When you said we should learn to be in our playground, one of the things I always loved was the swings. Like when I was a kid, they always had the heavy chain on it where you could really get out there.
I know.
Yeah. Learn to swing again. You know how that feeling was when it got into your groin? You're going up and you're going down.
Butterflies.
Exactly. You know what? Just go and have some fun. Well, hang on, Kelli, as I get out of here. Thank you, folks, everyone. Tonight we have Nige and Jules on. We'll find out what's happening in China for sure. And much love to you. Kelli, stay with me. Thank you for a wonderful, wonderful hour. Thank you, everyone. And